for example, like 2 days ago, I reached a creator on Drip, and I'm like, I love what you do. Let's collab. And it's like, yes, what do you have in mind? I'm like, I don't know. And now I have to think. I have to say, okay, so your art
Yeah.
is like that, my art is like that. How we make it fit together? And I think I kind of want to do people where it's not like very easy to do something together.
Yeah.
But for example, I have no idea how to make my thing in 3D. There is so many 3D artists. I'm like, okay, I'll do my. But if there is a way, yeah, let's go for it.
Welcome to Beyond the Drop episode 4. Today we have the lovely microscopic creator Maquin. We'll learn a lot about his background and how he had a fondness of drawing when he was growing up, but due to inevitable real life responsibilities, wasn't able to pursue this at the time and took a long gap from any kind of drawing or creation as he went through his studies and eventually led on to his PhD. What's really fascinating is the story behind how Maquin actually found the inspiration to get back into drawing and how there were small stepping stones along the way that put him on the path to, what he creates today. He's such an infectious person. It was great speaking to him. Very, very smiley and cheerful person, and incredibly enthusiastic about the work that he creates as well, which is really, really nice to see. Please make sure to follow Maquin on Twitter and also subscribe to Drip if you're not already. As usual, I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Yeah, I mean, I was really happy that you said you'd come on, because I think you were one of the first creators that I started to follow quite closely, because I really liked
Thank you.
your microscopic art. I thought it was really, really cool. And I know actually by profession, and do correct me if any of this is wrong. I have done my
Yeah,
research
so
or tried
for
to.
sure. Yeah.
But I think by your profession, you've said that you're a biologist in real life.
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah,
biochemist. It's very
biochemist.
subtle, but if you want
Okay,
the real thing, yes.
fair enough. Okay, so you're a biochemist, and I
Yes.
think it's very telling with your art that that is what you do in real life, right? It's quite related with the
Yeah.
microscopic art. But I also understand that you're originally from France,
Hmm.
currently living in the States. So it'd be really good for you to just, us to get a little bit more familiar with you,
Yeah.
get a little bit of insight into your background, and also, a brief history on how you began doing what you're doing.
Okay, perfect. So let's go for it. So, as you say, I'm French. I think I have an accent, so you can hear it. And the story start, I think, with art and all this thing when I was a kid. Like I guess a lot of artists, but a little background about me. It's like my parents come from South America, so they immigrated to France before I was born. And when they arrived in France, they didn't speak French, just speak Spanish. And so we grew up in a very tight, strong community, like my family, because my parents didn't really have friends for a while. So I was spending my time with my family, my siblings, and my mom always loved to draw. Not an artist, she never like expose art, but draw all the day. I have two older brother, one older sister, and one of my brother, he's 6 years older. He started drawing and reading comics and reading books before I was born. So when I
Mm.
started to grow up, like he was my example. I was like, wow, he loves to draw, so I start drawing. And my brother, by the way, is not. He stopped that now. He's like of the family and he's doing something else. But that was my inspiration because he was just reading comics all day long, drawing all day long, and I just follow this path. And after it's kind of follow all my during all my school years, I was just doodling on the side
Mm.
of my notes. The teacher were like pissed at me, but I was just drawing. But I never thought that I will do something. So in my family, my father wanted us to study, so it was not an option basically to do art or make art. So
Mm.
he was like, you have a diploma, whatever. So basically, I went through school. I mean, I'm lucky, I guess. School was okay for me, but I was always doodling on the side. I did that until I went to university. I continued. At some point, I did my PhD in France, and here it was a little hardcore, so I just stopped doodling and drawing. So that was my okay. Now I need to have like a real diploma. I
Mhm.
got my PhD. I went to Chicago to continue working in a research laboratory, and here I just worked for a while until I listened to a podcast about like I listened a little bit about crypto. So I bought some Bitcoin in 2017 and but I
That's
did
early.
nothing with it. Okay, cool. I did nothing with it. I just changed them with cryptos that don't exist anymore. So that's kind of stupid. I mean, it's not stupid, but I was like, oh my God, Bitcoin is great, but the other stuff
Yeah.
will be like better. And I lost everything, but I didn't put a lot, so it's not a real
That's
issue.
good. Yeah.
And yeah, and I listened to a podcast, and they were like, "Oh, there is this NFT piece that sold for millions," and I was like, "Wait, so what is that?" And because I guess I'm curious, I was like, "Okay." And people in the podcast were like, "That's the future of everything." So I was like, "Okay, is that the future of everything?" And I'm early. I'm gonna start to learn about that. So I yeah, I start to know more about it. I That's when I started a Twitter, and because I guess I thought I was super genius, I was just retweeting random people who say, if you retweet, you can win my NFT, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be like a millionaire. But all these stuff there, I mean, first I didn't win this thing, and they were like random projects. So, and that was like on Ethereum, and one day I saw this art for someone on Twitter who is also a drip creator, Kev the Cactus. So I don't know
Oh yeah.
if you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
So it was his first tweet. I think it was 2 years ago or something like that. And I was like, and again the same. He's like, if you, I don't know if it was retweet or whatever, you can win my first cactus. So I was like, wow. So I did it, and he's like, oh, you won. Send me your wallet, and I sent my Ethereum wallet, and he was like, no, it's Solana. I was like, oh, what is that? So that's when I started with Solana. And
Right.
also I'm pretty close with Kev, so I just big fan of him. I I I was like a moderator in his Discord when he had one, and the thing is like he makes this, I don't know if you know his story, but he makes like this PFP project. And after that, he did something pretty cool. He told his supporter, some one of them, that we can redraw one of his cav and he will mint it for us and give us the royalty. And
That is
that's
so
when
cool.
really I restart. Like I use the software from work, I draw my cactus, and he minted it.
Mm.
And that's when I drew it. I remember the feeling. I was like, my God, I missed that. So that's
Mm.
when my brain was like, okay, that's something is missing in my life, but I didn't realize. So that's when I restart to think about all of that. And there is more to the story, but maybe I'm too long already. So
No, 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 all good. It's really, really interesting to hear. I mean,
okay.
you've definitely got like a very distinct journey in like how you got involved, right? That's like so, I don't know,
Oh yeah,
crystal clear.
I did that, and during Twitter, my starting Twitter, like I was I love taking pictures, so I just took a lot of pictures through my life, and I was taking picture, and for a year, I just put a different picture of basically Chicago as
Mm.
a tweet, good morning, and nobody really cares at first and perhaps at the end, I don't know, but I really loved it. And the more I was doing that, the more I was starting to build a story in my mind, something I wanted to. I was like, I want to do something. And my idea was like, with these pictures, I wanted to create a story. And I was like, I want to create something, make my little stamp in the world, like I did art and people will have it. And I thought about the story for a long time, and I said it was going to be 10 pieces, photography with some edits, and it's going to follow the journey of a character. And I was like, I will mint these 10 pieces, and at the end, nobody bought them. It's fine. If someone bought one, it's great. And I sold the 10 of them, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, if I do that, it's done. I'm happy. I did it, but
Yeah.
it worked, and after I got like pretty interested, and I was like, I want to do more, and that's when the microscopy art started. I was thinking
Mm.
about what I can do next. So I'm building this story, and it's a universe that I'm thinking about, and in the future I will still develop on it. And I was in the lab. I work with microscope every day on the daily for hours. A very strong microscope that whatever that I don't use for my art. But one day, one of my a friend, a researcher. So he's a physicist, never used a microscope in his life, and I saw him in the corner of my lab, being fascinated, looking at something in a very old microscope that we don't use for research. And I came to see, and he was looking at a post-it note, like the yellow
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was amazed, and I was like, oh yeah, post-its are made of cellulose, and into the microscope looks very cool. So for me, it's obvious, but he was
Yeah.
just amazed, and I was like, wait, people don't know that. And I was like, in fact, it's that's where it started to grow, because in my mind, there is a infinitely big, infinitely small, And what we see with our eyes is just a very little piece of that.
Mhm.
So I was like, with microscopy, it's not like we're gonna. I don't show stuff in very different scales, but it's something that we don't think looks like that. And
Mhm.
something that makes me very happy when I make my pieces is nobody. A lot of my abstract piece, nobody know what they are. I know what they are, and sometimes it's very makes me happy that people. I don't know. They sometimes it's very random, and I
Mhm.
love it. I love how it looks under the microscope. So
Yeah.
so that's why how I started microscopy art,
Uh,
basically.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it is very yeah, interesting. I think I would find that fascinating if if I was in a lab or anything like that. As somebody who's never been in one, it's
Hmm.
like it's a completely different world to me. So it would be very exotic. It would be like super cool to actually use one. I've never used a microscope ever, even at school.
Oh
So
wow!
so it's like
You can buy a very basic one for $50 on Amazon, and they're pretty good already. I
yeah.
have some at home. And I have a lot of microscopes, but I don't know. Yeah, it's cool to use a microscope.
No,
I,
I think it's super cool because like you say you don't really know what you're gonna like see under the
that
lens. So
that is that's the beauty of it, because even if with now I'm doing that a lot,
mm,
I create something. So there is two way of creating. There is the thing where I engrave with a diamond, and that I
yeah.
look on the microscope what I'm doing. But other stuff they're like creation, and I don't know what they're gonna look under the microscope. And always in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's gonna look like that, but it never does. So I still don't have
Mm.
a good feeling for that.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it's still kind of a surprise
It is.
sometimes as well, which I think is like half the joy of it, really.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
so nice. I
I,
love
I
that.
I don't think I can really have a feel for it, because in fact a lot of structure you see by eyes, you don't know what they're made of. So it's very, if you use plastic, if you use textile, if you use piece of paper, and different kind of paper, a different kind of entanglement of of cellulose fibers. So it's everything is always a surprise. So that's why I think it's pretty cool.
Nice. No, it really is. It really is. I mean, you already kind of alluded to this, but you have kind of like a mix of photography and then more physical pieces, which you use with the diamond engraver
Hmm.
pen thing
Yes,
tool.
yes, yes. I
Um,
have one around. Where is it? There. Wait. So basically, like, uh, it's just like
yeah,
a pen, and at the end there is just a tiny, tiny diamond, and you just
yeah.
go and do it.
It seems like very very delicate work, but you've got a bit of a mix of both. So you've got your photography, and then actually under the scope, you've
Yeah.
got you choose different subjects, and then you also then engrave images yourself, which is a bit more intentional. You get to
Yes.
choose what the
Yes.
image looks like. So I mean, when I view your art, it seems to be very full of kind of character and humor, some of it as well. So
Thank you.
I mean, how do you? I think you alluded to this before, but how do you actually decide on what to include as your subject?
So so at first, the first time I engraved it was like a drip. We started to do this Alien Week or Robot Week, and I was like, oh, okay, let's. I mean, I can. So because I was just doing abstract
Hmm.
art, and I love doing it, and I will continue doing it. But right now I'm in my engraving phase, I guess. But I was like, okay, I cannot do robot wig with like a thing that looks like weird, you know. So I
Mm,
need to make a robot. So I just went and engraved, and I was like, oh my god, that's hard, but I can do it. So, but the first engraving was so hard compared to now, because now I have my own microscope and I look at what I'm engraving.
mm.
I show some videos on Twitter's like
Yeah.
process, but before it was I'm engraving without the microscopes. I'm really like very close with my eyes, and I try and I look. It looks very bad, so I have to redo it. So now it's better. It's easier at least.
Yeah, imagine so. I didn't think you would have given it a go without a microscope. That must have been so
I don't know.
hard.
I was like, I can. Yeah, it's very hard without a microscope, but it's possible. So
Yeah, no, fair play, fair play. Yeah, you said as before as well. You've kind of shared a little bit of the process before. It looks very very intricate. With the diamond pen, is that something you use in your work, or is that just a tool that you had spare?
it's funny because so in my work I use a lot of this kind of slide for to do microscopy, and it
Hmm.
just we have a very heavy cleaning of the glass takes several days. We need the glass to be like perfect. And basically we have one piece of glass, and before with one piece of glass you can do one experiment. But I was like, if I use a diamond, because the glass is very clean and you don't need all the glass to look at your samples, they're very tiny. So I was like, if I use a diamond cutter and I could cut my glass in small pieces with one glass that takes a while to clean, now I can do several experiments. So that's why I bought a diamond cutter like years ago.
Mm.
And yeah, and after I was like, oh, that's like a pen, and I can draw stuff with
Yeah.
it.
Like how long does it take like to actually do say a piece? Like would you practice and then say, oh, that's rubbish, get rid of that one and then try again? Or like how long does it take you actually?
So I think no, it's not. I think it is way. I'm way more efficient. So making the piece by itself, it's never more than, let's say, 15 minutes engraving.
Mm.
But for example, when I did an engraving for a tiny Denise, and this one was like very hard to do, and I have
Mm.
like 10 failure. So that means 10 by 15 minutes where I try, and it's very, you have to be super focused. But if you push too hard, the glass broke. If you don't push hard enough, you don't see what you engrave. So it's a lot of practice, and
Mm.
nobody teach me how to do that. So just like, okay, when I push like that, and after when you intensely into it, so that's I guess my problem. I made a piece yesterday and I was very happy it was done, and at some point I was very excited and I pushed too hard and I broke it and I was like,
Oh
ah.
no.
I know, it's okay. So yeah, it's a lot but really it's way faster now. So now, because
Yeah.
it's faster, I can put more details, because
Mm.
before I was like, if I try to put too much, I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna break, and it's not just break the piece. Sometimes, like, the line you put kind of break a piece of glass inside the line, so it looks very weird. So,
Hmm.
I'm getting better, so I can be more complex, and that's my goal now. So,
Yeah.
yes.
You bring out pieces like every week. Like you are like absolutely smashing them out. Like
Oh yeah. I
um
just checked yesterday, and I'm the third creator with the most drop, because I
yeah.
dropped every week.
Exactly. Like you do not stop. So I was just thinking, I mean, you must spend like quite a bit of time on it, but over time you get more efficient and
Yeah.
as you
And
as you practice as well.
also like drip. So I have my work life, I have my personal life, but when these two are not, and they're both like the most, I mean, personal life first, and work, I mean, I have to go to work. I cannot like engraving at work.
Ugh.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I did a little bit at first, but and I have my own microscope at home. I'm done with that.
Nice.
And and um and every time I have like some free time, I do it. That's
Yeah.
that. And also, when I was telling you I wake up early, it's a lot of work. Is like, I told you I go to the gym at 7. I'm
Mhm.
very a routine guy. So I wake up between 5:30 and 6, and I do art. And at 6 I go to the gym. And when I come back home, I do the physical thing in the morning. And when I'm home and have time, I take a picture and I start to play with the color and things
Mhm.
like that. So it's a big commitment, but I love it. So
Yeah. It sounds like you're quite strict with your schedule as well, which will definitely help with that.
yeah.
Um,
And
what?
also I force myself to be in this schedule. I'm like, on
Mm,
Monday I have to share one piece, on Tuesday, because if I don't, I'm
yeah,
gonna
you're
be like,
behind. Like, yeah,
uh-huh. So it's a little stressful sometimes, but so far so good.
yeah, you're doing very well. Don't worry. Um, well, I was wondering because your pieces are, um, yeah, I mean they're digital, right? So that you upload them to Drip, and also I've
Yeah.
seen where you share it on Exchange as well. Have you ever thought about how your work could be exhibited in real life, like in a real life gallery?
Yes, totally. So I think it's would be pretty easy, because like so there is two ways. There is pretty cheap microscope that you can plug a camera in top of them, and
Hmm.
you so in my mind is like, you have the microscope, my art, and there is a screen who show it, or people can look directly,
Mm.
because microscope, to appreciate my art, it's for real, like the $50 Amazon microscope, it's good enough to see my piece.
Hmm.
It's not the
Yeah.
best, but so you can have a lot of them with my pieces. People can look at them, or you can have some also with plugged to a screen, and people can look at them. So yeah, I was thinking about that.
I think I think that would be like such a cool exhibition to see. Is like even like with the little plate as well.
Yeah,
Just literally seeing straight down into actually that. that tiny little piece, you'd be actually able to kind of experience how small it is, and then have
Yeah,
it on a larger scale, with the kind of final digital image. I think it would be a really cool exhibition.
yeah. One day, finger
Yeah,
crossed.
yeah, definitely. More recently, you've had quite a few collaborations as well.
Hmm.
So more recently, it was Madhouse, Amet, and I think Studio NX. You did one as well.
Oh yeah, I did
Um,
so
how
many.
how does that work? Because yeah, you're like smashing them out as well. And how does that work with your collaboration? So like, you know, do you like have to video call each other and say like, oh, I'm gonna do this, or you agree on a subject, or is
It's
it how do you agree on what to do, if that makes sense?
it's very fun. It's so different. So with some I got like a video call,
Mhm.
and with some it's like so first we have to so the big thing in collaboration we have to agree on what we do, how we share, how we it, it's very complex, but I kind of love it. I love like problems to solve basically,
Mhm.
and also like between us like a thing that I'm very very happy to be a drip creator is like I can do so many collaboration with people I love. I'm big fan of some of them, like man, I'm doing something with them, just the idea of being able to do a collaboration is just crazy to me, so I want to do the most collaboration I can. That's my just couldn't be happier about that. And to make them happen, artists are super nice. It
Mm.
never went wrong. I think I did more 10 or 15 collaboration now, and it's always went well. Sometimes it's a little delay because of me or because of the other artists. So it's not like no one's fault because we're busy,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
we just have to agree. And often it's like what I do now is like I engrave something. So with Ahmed, for example, I engraved this little like virus
Mhm.
and send it to him, and he draw a virus. We spoke first. He was like, "Yeah, you're in microscopy. Let's do virus team." I'm like, "Great." But he was like, "Yeah, what virus looks like?" So I was like, "Okay, I have to tell you how they look." So Hamed's viruses in his job really look like real viruses. By the way, it's not like just imagination virus. Like
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
virus in real life looks like that. So for the legendary, we're like, okay, I'm gonna engrave one, and you draw on top of it, and you draw one, and I will engrave on top of it. So that was the idea, and that's something I start to really like in collaboration. Like he started with a Degen poet doing this both legendary when everyone do something for the other one. So I was doing other kind of collaborations. So it was more like this week it's on my channel, and later it's
Mhm.
gonna be in yours. But in fact, I was like, yeah, makes sense. It's the same week for both because I don't know, looks like better for speaking about it and people be excited about
Yeah.
it. So
I think
but
yeah, I think that makes a
well,
lot of sense for like like continuity.
mhm.
And you share that that's coming out, you're going to have a duos piece, and then people can look forward to it at the same time. I think that makes a lot of sense. Is there anybody who you, because you've had quite a few, is there anybody who you would like to have a collaboration with who you haven't yet?
uh, I don't know. So I want to. That's the issue. We're too many now. I
Yeah.
really every time it's a challenge. So I'm like I'm like, for example, like 2 days ago, I reached a creator on Drip, and I'm like, I love what you do. Let's collab. And it's like, yes. What do you have in mind? I'm like, I don't know. And now I have to think. I have to say, okay, so your art
Yeah.
is like that, my art is like that. How we make it fit together? And I think I kind of want to do people where it's not like very easy to do something together. But
Yeah.
for example, I have no idea how to make my thing in 3D. There is so many 3D artists. I'm like, okay, I'll do my. But if there is a way, yeah, let's go for it. But I like challenges, and I'm like, I want something that's, I don't know, exciting to. That's something you don't know what you're gonna do first. So that's a
Mhm.
lot of stuff. I think a lot of the almost all of them where I contact the creator, I'm like, let's do something together. If you're okay, if you're not okay, no worries.
Yeah.
I'm happy if we, and basically they'll say yes. But after I'm like, and if they say yes, I'm like, okay, now I have to think
Yeah.
about something.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's. I think I'm looking forward to more collaborations, and super cool to do 3D, anything 3D as
Hmm.
well, because I think that would be really interesting, and also like you say, difficult as well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that'll be very nice to look out for. Um, you also within there's kind of a theme like throughout your work is like with the way that you kind of manipulate and or include color in your works. Um, And this goes across kind of both as well. So you've got your photography and also your microscopic pieces as well. And you play a lot with kind of the negative images. I was just wondering, what is it that draws you to like the polarization within the image? Is there any kind of reason behind it, I suppose?
If there is a reason, I don't think I know it. So for the color, so the first piece I did in microscopy was on exchange art, and
Yeah.
I make this piece, and I was like, I took the picture, and I was like, it's pretty cool, but at the time I didn't want to play with color. I was like, I will not. Now I do it, I change the color or whatever,
Yeah.
but always with the same gradient, or I don't like make fake coloring or totally out of nowhere. But for this one, I was like, it's cool, but I don't know, it's missing something, and I just inverted color,
Mm.
and I was mind blown. After speaking about my work, so probably I shouldn't, but I was like, okay, that's it. And I realized that a lot of images that I take, if I invert colors, they look like very, very good. So that was, in fact, my first series on exchange art with my one-on-one, my talisman pieces that are like the first one I started, the one on the Prudest. They all picture from the microscope and invert color, and that's it. So
Okay.
I yeah, I love it. And after now, I try to be as you say, I drop once a week for like 33 weeks now. And I was thinking of the future when I did my first piece. I was like, okay, I can make 4 pieces, no biggie,
Mm.
easy. But after I'm like, okay, next week I have to make 4 pieces, like real pieces. I'm like, next week I have to make 4 more. I'm like, that's gonna be like impossible. So
Mm.
that's why I started like, okay, let's make something realistic. So one piece, different coloring. But now with the engraving, I can make 4 pieces per week, or if at some point I'm too busy, I will not. But it was more like I, it was taking me a lot of time to think about a new piece before drip,
Mm.
and I was taking more than 1 week to think about one piece. And now I'm like, I have to make 4 different, like, design by chance is like, I don't know how he does, like 4 or 5 pieces a week, different. He's a machine. I'm like, I'm nothing comparison. Like, and I'm sure he does more than that, by the way. I think he make 5 pieces a day or something. So it's now I can make 4 different pieces per week. So I
Yeah.
think it's cool also for collectors. So, yeah.
It sounds really challenging. Like it's came up in a couple of conversations actually. It's like how you um I suppose with drip is that there is a certain expectation, right? Where you have your common, your rares, and your legendaries. It's kind of like what should determine what is what. What determines what is common, what determines what is legendary. Because people, although they will be able to, they'll collect all of them or they'll aim to collect all of them, is that there'll be a mindset thing where the legendary, well, at the very least, would have to be more rare, right? That's kind of the incentive to, donate more
So yeah,
droplets and that kind of thing. So it does sound
so
challenging.
it is challenging. So at first, for a lot of pieces, if you look through the evolution on drip, so the command basically it's like color invert, or basically sometimes
Mhm.
it's just the original picture from the microscope, a color invert. So it's very simple thing on the command and rare usually.
Mm,
And after the legendary, it's again because before it was taking me a lot of time to play with colors, and because I knew none of it. I I just learned. I mean, in fact, I didn't watch. It's another thing I kind of like is not really watching YouTube video about how people do. I'm like, I'm gonna do my own thing, and sometimes I discover something. I'm like, oh wow, we can do that, and it's something that makes me happy in the process of creating. So that's why I don't want to know all the tricks. So it
mhm.
takes me a while now. Now it's faster to change the color and make stuff I'm happy with. But at first it was like, so the common and rare have more work into it than the legendary. But after was this big discussion on drip where like, and it totally makes sense. It's like, I'm gonna send the comment to tens of thousands of people, and if it's like the shittier piece, it's like it's
Mm.
not cool. People will be like, why I will subscribe to this guy. So I mean, I mean, I think people should subscribe to everyone. But if people want to be selective, I think they want to have a piece they're happy with. So that's
Yeah.
another reason, but I still put more effort in my like my ultimate pieces. I put so much effort, like hours of everything. And now with the three pieces, for example, my job from yesterday, like was the same amount of work to make the
Mhm.
three pieces. And it was, I don't know if you saw the piece, I'm just speaking,
Yeah.
but like the Pepe
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, and that's something I want to, I don't know, because next week I already like yesterday when I come back from work, I start working on my next piece and it's gonna be something, I don't know, I think cool, but a little different than that.
Interesting. It's been kind of cool to follow your progress and see actually how your work has changed over time as well. So, and I think that
Yeah.
comes with experience as you work through and the more time you spend doing it, and it makes a lot of sense how it would change over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I thought I will do the same thing for years until I switched to something, and it took way less than that. After like 5 months, I was already like switching a little bit to not do
mm.
more engraving. So yeah,
Yeah, I
great.
think it makes a lot of sense as well. Like it kind of adapting to also what you can what you can
Mm-hmm.
manage.
Yeah.
Like that's super important because you don't want to get burnt out, right? Even if you do like four different pieces a week, and they're completely different, you need the thought process behind that, and then actually physically doing them, and your
Yeah.
they break as you use your pen. Like
I know. And I also have a job who is pretty intense. So I'm
yeah,
like, I have to write grants, I have to do experiment, I have to think about my research. So it's a lot happening sometimes. When we have deadline at work, so I'm like, oh my God, I really have to figure it out how to make these pieces. But so far so good. I'm loving
no,
it.
definitely. No, that's really good. Okay, well, so I know you already mentioned kind of a little bit more about how you got into like crypto and NFTs just to take it in a bit of a different direction. Are there any, out of curiosity, are there any other ecosystems that you follow? Or is it primarily Solana that you
Oh yeah,
follow?
no, it's Solana. So I've so it's the same in my strategy. I'm like I'm too busy in my life.
Mm,
So it's also something about me. I'm like when I do something, I'm super intense into it. So I'm like,
mm,
I was thinking to go to other thing, but I'm like, and that, I don't know. In my mind, also Solana made sense just for the gas fee. So I, wa- I was like, that's gonna be my thing. I
mhm.
go for it, and at the end of the day, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm just one big thing is I'm having fun. I just
Yeah.
try to have new experiences and yeah, I don't really try to have like this big because also I know nothing about marketing. I'm just trying my and something very fun too. I try my own thing on Twitter, whatever, but I don't know what should be the best strategy to grow. I guess will be I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I do my thing and that's it. People like it, it's great. If they don't, I mean it's great too.
I think that's a
So
good approach. Why stress about it? Just if you're having fun, that's like just make the most of that, I think.
yeah.
Don't think about it too much.
It's one thing I try to it start to be hard over time is to be very like because for years for since I started I'm like I don't if nobody buy or care about me it's fine but now you start to be there is tens of thousands of people who subscribe to your channel so they're receiving your piece and there is an expectation that I will not say pressure yet but a little bit but I'm
Yeah.
like I cannot just send something is not great so it's little I will not say stressful but little bit.
Yeah, I imagine why it would like include some kind of pressure on that, to be honest. I think that
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
but I do a lot of work to try to tell myself you just should be happy
Mhm.
that I can do that and I can have a revenue from that. So, but again, it's like if people forget about me, okay, I will not be able to do that anymore or whatever. So yeah, there's some pressure more about being forgotten. I guess,
Mhm, mhm.
but so far it's great.
Nice, good. And what do your like say friends and family think about it? I mean, have you shared this with them and how say NFTs work and that lot?
No, nobody knows what I do.
Oh, really?
I know, even my family, they don't know. It's yeah, it's at work they kind of know a little bit what I do, but they're super like skeptical.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there is zero I will say good vibe about what I do. So that's why I don't really speak about it on with people. So but recently I spoke to some friends about drip and things like that, and they like the idea of something big, something like perhaps I sell like the next YouTube or whatever. It's like, oh, you're into something like that. I'm like, yeah. So and I bring some friends to drip, but yeah, they're not like crypto enthusiasts. They're like they forget to play the droplet game. Like it's not. It's like I didn't receive your drop. I'm like, oh my god, you didn't like check you didn't know you need drops. You know, they're not like super involved into it. So
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know the feeling. I mean, I don't really speak to anybody in
every time I try, people say you're a scammer or whatever. Even if as a joke, you know, as a people scamming crypto, whatever. So I'm like, I will stop speaking about that until I don't know, mentality change or what, because they're not interested in it.
yeah.
So it's
I
not
get
like
I get the same impression. It's just like people just don't tend to get it, or yeah, it's just associated with scams and stuff. Which is such a shame. But I think it will change in time and probably quite
yeah,
soon. But
and
yeah,
it's not my fight.
no, fair play.
When
Yeah.
people will like it, I will be like, yeah. By the way, I do crypto. They'll be like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing it for like years. But
Yes,
nice, you can
and you
show off
could
a little bit.
have collected all my pieces for free, but you're just, I don't know, lazy or something. It's not very hard, you know, to have a wallet and start collecting. But
No, exactly. Okay. And with like your experience on Drip, you mentioned before, you have like what was it, 600K subscribers, I think, which is
yes, something like
mad.
that.
Which
But
is a huge number.
yeah, but I mean, like less than 10% of my subscribers are active. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
was so that was also an issue. I mean, it's way less an issue now, but at first, like all the legendary, I think we're going to bot or multiple account people, and that's less like that, way less like that now. So it's better because it was in secondary market it was tough at first, but now it's getting better. So it's
yeah.
something else. So I I I, I don't know what people. I know how think when I give droplet to an artist. I just want their piece. I don't really care about secondary market, but I know that some people care about that, and I think they will decide if they give how much droplet to how much they think they can resell the piece compared to.
Mhm.
So it's better if your piece don't go for nothing. It's a
Yeah.
legendary at least. But
Mm. Yeah, it's quite a fair balance, really, to try and figure that out. Um, you you are obviously very active on like Twitter and that kind of thing. See you pop up on Twitter quite a bit, which is really nice. Always like kind of posting about everybody who donates droplets and stuff. You show a lot of gratitude, which is really really nice. Where else would it be good for you say listeners to this show? Where's it best to follow you and follow your art? Is it primarily Drip and Exchange? Is there anywhere else?
I think that's it. Drip Exchange and on Twitter. I mean, yeah, I should do something to have like a website to kind of show my video of the process of me creating, because some people say like, how you do that, and I have to go through my
Mm.
Twitter and share
Yeah,
the video.
yeah,
So yeah, no, that's I did my link tree recently, so that's step number
yeah.
one. So now I'm gonna do a. I'm saying that randomly. I never thought of it. Now I'm gonna do a website. No, we'll see. But it will be cool to have a very easy link to the thing. I'm almost sure is like 90. I don't know the person. So many people don't know my art is microscopic art, even if collectors. So it's even if some people they take my art for a while. At some point they DM me and they're like, "Oh, how you do that?" I'm like, "What?" So it's a very I don't know what's the best way to really. I don't know if it's so important. I mean, for me, it is important that it's microscopic art, but at least people know about it, and it's always hard because I get it. In Twitter there is so much information that you look at something cool and you put like and you
Mm.
scroll,
Mhm.
so it's hard to I don't know, for people to know what I do.
Yeah,
But
I
we'll
think
work on it.
I absolutely love seeing the process of well, just everybody's work. I probably bang on about this every week, to be honest, but yeah, I did catch the video that you shared on how you make yours as well. So 100%, I think it would just be even really cool if you could do like a live stream or something of it. I'd love to see that.
I will love that.
Yeah,
The thing, I'm not a tech guy. I've already like to make this video. It's yeah, I will love that. I just have to figure it out.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will just speak doing my stuff like. serious crocodile is doing. It's great. So yeah, I'm very like I will love that. But also, I mean, I guess we all around the world. If I do that, it will be 5 to 6 a.m. But I guess it's fine. I will be like half asleep.
Oh, well, don't burn yourself out for us. Or maybe do, so we can benefit from it.
No. Yeah, yeah, that will be great, I think.
Nice.
But I
Love
have
to
to
see it.
figure it out. But already, I bought the thing to take. I never thought I would that to take live video of what I'm engraving.
Yeah, yeah,
I want to do more, but it takes a lot of time, so I need to find time to do that. That's
yeah.
it. But and also like engraving, so you don't. So one thing with microscope, you can put a camera on the side, but the image look like a square, like a
Mm-hmm.
normal. And in fact, something I love is my image look like a circle because it's from the. I take a picture through the eyepiece of the objective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to take a video, I need to put the camera on top of the eyepiece, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at the camera and I'm engraving, and I don't need to make all the stuff shake. So and also it's harder to engrave. So when I take a video and I take a lot of recording where it didn't work, but it's harder to make your piece. So it's just something I have to learn
Mm-hmm.
to be
Yeah.
better at it.
Yeah. All in good time. All in good
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And then yeah, I'm mindful of time. I only have one last question for you. And it is, who would you like to shout out from Drip?
It's hard. I, I I can say two names.
Sure.
So I will say Cave the Cactus because I will not be here without him, and I
Mm.
love everything he does, and I love his universe. And the artist I really love to work with, and we're friends now. We chat every day on Twitter is Madhouse. So it's
Nice.
that's the two. I mean that and everyone for sure. I love to contact and speak with, but these two has been so first their art is amazing, and after as human beings they're fantastic. So I will say
Nice.
this too.
They're good shout outs. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really nice hearing a little bit more, about you, your practice, and also kind of like the person behind the art.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward if you do actually kind of like end up on more, just kind of sharing more about yourself with other people, with your microphone.
Yes.
You've got that now, right? No excuse. You
It
just
worked.
yeah.
Yesterday I was trying to make it work for like half an hour. But now it's okay.